All right, it's Illuminostic, and I only have a little bit before ceremony tonight, but I wanted to pop on and talk about a couple of things that are on my mind because I feel like they're pretty urgent. Kind of having a sense of urgency lately. I mean, I know we're all aware that there's a lot of turmoil in the world, and I've been calling it a chaostrophe for a number of years, and I'm pretty sure I borrowed that from Terrence McKenna, so he probably saw the chaostrophe coming a long time ago. Tim Leary, all these guys, anybody with a brain that has dissolved their matrix bound perceptual parameters is probably going to have noticed the trajectory of people and culture is a bit off, to put it mildly. And so, I feel like there are lots of things we can do, and we need to start taking it deadly seriously. So I have been considering how I can get back to my original objective on this channel, which was to encourage people to find ways to strengthen and empower each other and to build community of like-minded people that are, pursuing legitimate expansion of consciousness and gnosis and self-improvement and just kind of generally building a lifestyle and an ontology that is just based around deliberate conscious evolution and the basic principles of decency that are generally understood by people that have used psychedelics and other systems effectively. By the way, you guys, speaking of empowering people, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon or one of the options in the chat. And so there are also a few things I've noticed today that are maybe not as related in regards to the Sound of Freedom documentary and Tim Ballard. And I think it's stuff that we all need to be aware of and certainly considering, because we don't want to get sucked into any false narratives. We don't want to allow ourselves or anyone we know to get played by politicized media or wedge issues, which is, driving people apart in families, communities. But I could have just stopped at families, because once it gets to that extent where, families people are not speaking to each other because of ridiculous political issues that oftentimes don't even have any direct bearing on anyone. The angry people are not directly affected by these issues a lot of times, and yet we are still so committed to these ideological doctrines that a lot of us will just kind of adhere to them absolutely. And that is one of the main issues that I feel. Hey, right on, Rick. Yeah, I was pretty happy about that one too. I do these all from Stream of Consciousness, and I'm really busy right now, so I was a little bit worried to pop on and be incoherent, but I feel like that stream went pretty well. And so one of the reasons I stopped talking a lot about this sort of life hacks that I originally had suggested should be part of my protocol with this content is that the crypto market crashed, and I wasn't sure if it was ever going to pick up again. But there's been a major revelation in the last week, and I just want to share this with you guys real quick, and also encourage you to join my Discord, because there's going to be calls dropped in there, and also my Patreon. But I think we figured something out that is incredibly important. In fact, I think it's foolproof. And so you have to get a plug-in, and you have to have the paid version of ChatGPT, but you can now analyze. And this is important for anyone, even if you don't care about crypto. You need this. You have to have this, because power is money. Like it's just the spiritual people in the past have had this attitude, like people that are after money are not spiritual, and you have to do both. That's the reality. You have to do both if you want to have any kind of power, any kind of influence. If you even want to be safe, if you want to avoid slavery, if you don't want to have to make a loaf of bread in order to buy a slice, you know what I mean? Then you have to take care of this stuff. And so ChatGPT Pro version, and then there's a plugin that allows you to get live information from the internet. And then you can have it vet cryptocurrency tokens. Here's the real clincher, though, you guys. Everyone's going to be doing this, which means everyone's going to be buying the same tokens. So if you learn the prompts and you can get them pre-sale, you will be able to improve your ability to find those tokens where, $100 turns into some ungodly amount of money with deadly accuracy. It's going to be almost foolproof. And so I'm just kind of blown away by the potential in that. One of my strongest feelings is that actually it's not one of the biggest problem. It is the single biggest problem in our world is that the wrong people have had all the money. It's actually very rare, it seems to me, that anyone that really should have money does have money. And I would really like to see what would happen if Illuminostic and a bunch of like-minded people suddenly had enough money to actually be powerful and to have media that actually has reach and to really actually make changes in the lives of people that deserve it and that can contribute to a movement that actually has substance and meaning. So that's where a lot of my energy is going to go, except that hearing that come out of my mouth, I'm thinking I don't really think we need any more information than use AI to vet pre-sales, and everyone's doing it, so those coins are guaranteed to sell. I mean, this is like the biggest no-brainer ever in the history of investment. It doesn't mean that you'll never miss, but the gambling element is going to be reduced by an extraordinary amount. Because, in a couple of seconds, the AI can check the developer history. They can check the contract for the potential for rug pulls. And you know what I mean? It'll go through everything in a couple of seconds. Look at all the market fundamentals, look at the performance of similar tokens. It's just an extraordinary thing that I just told you. So I hope you all do it because, yeah. Really, really crazy. So let me look at my title here and see what else I was planning to talk about. Okay, empowering our community, because I only have a few minutes. I got to go out and do ceremony. By the way, we still have some slots open. I mean, you could even come in July if you'd like, if you're the kind of person to just buy a plane ticket and just jump in a plane and go to South America. If you're that impulsive and have enough money, then go for it. But October, not September. We're also doing October and November, and then I will not be having retreats in South America anymore. So probably we're going back to the U.S. After that. So if something you're interested in, now is the time to make your deposit. And so far, I would say it's been a tremendously life-changing and impactful and successful experience for everyone who's come. So I'm pretty confident that you will not regret it. Okay, and then let's talk about Tim Ballard and the Sound of Freedom a little bit, because this is, and I know I have a lot of right wingers that watch my content, and I hope this doesn't make you too mad, but the movie is a scam, and the guy that created it is a scam, and one of the things I've noticed is that anyone that says that has a very large constituency of people that are going to call them pedophiles and say, like, I knew it, you're a Trump supporting, or you're a Biden supporting pedophile lefty yourself or whatever. I mean, it's crazy how they're politicizing this stuff in order to condemn the other side. And I want to make it clear that I am definitely not on the side of the Democrats. I'm not on the side of the Republicans. It is my opinion that they are both equally owned by the same powers, and they just express variations of a narrative, the sole purpose of which is to divide people and keep them fighting so that they do not unify and overthrow the old power structure. That is all politics is for. That is it. There's no better. There's no worse. They are all puppets of the same forces. So now that we have that out of the way, when I heard about the Sound of Freedom, I thought, that title sounds awfully sketchy. It sounds like right-wing propaganda to me, because it just does. And so I looked the guy up, and he immediately struck me as a completely insincere scam artist. As soon as I saw him, I was like, whoa, you're not serious. People think this guy's a hero? Really? Look at him. And so then I started digging into it, and I found a post on his Instagram. So people were like, source? And I'm like, him. What do you mean? His Instagram. Why are you even asking that? That's literally what I posted, and people are like, source? His fucking Instagram. Go look at it yourself. I just, sometimes my head almost explodes. But basically his donors were asking him, where's all this money going? And instead of coming up with receipts and like emailing them, he posted on Instagram a whiteboard, and then he drew what he was doing on the whiteboard. And even his justification, or his, what do you call it when you show people where the money, whatever the word is, when he, put the stuff on the whiteboard, he still showed like a third of it or something going directly into his friend's family and his own pocket. And then almost another third of it was going into a Haitian orphanage that is famous for scamming the orphan money that is donated and putting it in their pockets. He's taking helicopters to his fundraisers before the movie even hit. This dude is getting super rich off of this stuff, and there are cops and other people close to him. Everyone that's ever gotten anywhere near him is like, he's a scammer. He's just a scammer. It's not real. They're just politicizing this documentary to divide the right and the left again, to drive this narrative that all of the people on the left are a bunch of pedophiles. And I also looked it up, and guess what? Republican politicians are 75% more likely statistically to be thrown in prison for being pedophiles. You could look at it yourself. It's online. Like, I'm not saying that the sex trafficking of children and all the stuff that is portrayed in this documentary isn't happening, but I am saying that if this guy is scamming, and he is, millions and millions of dollars of donors' money that could legitimately go to fighting this stuff, and he's making a hero out of himself, getting rich in Hollywood, that is not okay. It is not good, and people are definitely falling for it. And I hate seeing that. I hate seeing people get duped. I hate it when wedge issues, that have been so heavily politicized that they're effectively creating hate and division amongst people. And people are eating it up and believing it, and it's just like so paper thin. You know what I mean? I believe in several conspiracy theories. I'm definitely guilty of that. Right? But a lot of these conspiracy theories and the manipulation tactics of the propaganda machine are so transparent. It takes so little thought to actually think through it and realize that it's bullshit. It scares the hell out of me. It really does. Because I feel like even a lot of the people that think they're thinking out of the box are really just as much of a zombie as the mainstream normies. And that's scary. But a good example is the idea that like Kanye was cloned. You have to clone, when you take a clone, you would have to wait for that clone to grow to be 46 years old, or however old Kanye West is. You can't just take a clone of someone and it's their age when you create it, right? This celebrity cloning thing is that dumb. They would have had to have cloned these people at birth in order to have a clone that is the same age as them. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff where it's like all it takes is a tiny little bit of critical thinking and analysis, and it just dies. And, we don't need any of our attention diverted to stupid shit. We don't need to believe that the powers that be are any weirder and more insane than they actually are. We don't need any of that. What we need is truth. What we need is light. What we need is confidence. What we need is unity. What we need is solidarity. What we need is courage. What we need is consciousness. What we need is ayahuasca, psychedelics, martial arts, flow state, creativity. You know what I mean? Ecstatic dance. I don't care. You need all of that stuff, but you don't need any more bullshit making you more insane. I mean, it is seriously. It's like most of it is super dumb. And this documentary, Sound of Freedom, has got so many, particularly right wingers, up in arms. Like, yeah, there's Democrats are fucking all pedophiles, and it's like, actually, your leaders are like exponentially more likely to be pedophiles. It's all of the elite. Stop pointing fingers. It's not the Democrats. The Democrats and the Republicans are on the same team. They're on the team of Slavery Inc., and you are just being manipulated, no matter which side of the aisle you are on. That's it. That's all. It's not that hard. If you put red and black ants in an ant colony and you just leave them to their own devices, they will not kill each other. You have to shake up the ant colony to get them to start killing each other. All systems tend towards homeostasis. All of them, including civilization. Doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, but naturally, everything in the universe, because of entropy, tends towards homeostasis. So if there's all of this agitation in our culture and in our society, somebody's shaking the fucking ant farm. You know what I mean? And it's all of the politicians. It's not the Democrats. It's not the Republicans. It's not the Libertarians, who are a huge disappointment for me at this point. You know what I mean? None of that. It's none of that. It's all of them. Same team, you know? And Sound of Freedom is just more propaganda to try to make people hate each other. It's being spun that way. And the hero at the center of it is a complete scam artist. So, you know, we absolutely should do something about child sex trafficking. Obviously, it is the evilest fucking thing that exists on this planet. But we also have to think critically about every single thing that we encounter and not allow our politicization to, you know, corrupt our perceptual apparatus to the point where, you know, this guy is so easy to see through, you know, the Tim Ballard guy. It's so easy. So I have to go and serve medicine in a little bit, so I need to clear my, you know, field of all of this weird craziness. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Please hit the like button, share, subscribe. If you support my efforts to make some goddamn sense and do some good in the world, then you can join our Patreon, or there are options to support us in the chat. And I'll see you guys again probably tomorrow.